What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today with a guide for the Dream Realm Lone Gaze boss. Actually quite the interesting boss fight today, quite some interesting teams that came out. I was actually thinking that we would see Alsa again. If you watched yesterday's video on the Crystal Beetle, you know what I'm talking about. There's a bug with Alsa doing insane damage. If you don't know about it, definitely make sure you watch that. Today we got some pretty normal teams though, nothing too fancy. I prepared a free-to-play team for you guys. I prepared the best team that I found for you guys, and I prepared something with Tillen as well. So we have 3 different teams that you guys can use, and I will also tell you some ways to adapt them. One thing to note though, you want to do Dur Trials today. It is open. I didn't have the time yet. We'll do it in about 2.5 hours at the time of this recording, probably 2 hours once you see this video. We'll do it together in a live stream. This is important. This will give you charms that will make your hero stronger, so you will be able to do more damage. Focus on the one with your main damage dealer. So if you have like a rogue, go for the rogue challenge and then smash there, and then you can get yourself some nice charms and hopefully a lot for your main hero. So that being said, there was one interesting hero that joined today into the teams, and this is Lenya. Lenya actually excelled as probably the best damage dealer we have there. I will focus a little bit more on her later. I will show you this best team right now. 364 mil. Quite insane. We will see and compare with the other teams in a second. This is the formation you want to use. Pretty easy heroes in there. Kruger, Coco of course is back as I predicted. We have Lenya in here, we have Mikola. If you don't have Mikola, maybe you try Smokey. And if you don't have Lenya, well, maybe Thorin. Let's watch the replay. Surviving against Lone Gaze is always the most important thing. That is something you might want to note if you don't know about this boss yet. This boss punishes you basically for heroes on your team dying. He gets buffed there, and you will see once one of our heroes dies, his damage will increase rapidly. And as we already struggle with survival right now due to, well, low resonance level really, which is normal at the beginning of the season, one hero dying can be a problem. It is a bit of RNG though, so definitely do multiple attempts. Keep in mind you can buy more attempts, even if you have already done your 10 in a day. You can buy 10 more, so maybe try a few and see if you can get a run where your heroes aren't dying, and then you might be able to get very high damage. So in this attempt we are actually not surviving very well, still doing decent damage. 505 million, can't really complain about that. And Kruger, of course, if you don't know about him, he is reducing fist damage reduction, so definitely a nice support for this team. Then there was also a team that was very successful with Tillen in there. It is a little bit whaley, did more than this, though given this team was a little bit of a bad attempt. We can probably score more later in the day, but I didn't want to waste more attempts before I did Dur Trials. I have more hope into the Lenya team, but we'll see why. If we watch the damage numbers, we can see the damage of Lenya is just so much higher. Formation for this one looks like this. People recommend going energy on Lenya, on Mikola. It doesn't matter too much if you have Supreme plus Mikola, just because she only has to ult a single time. Also doesn't matter really on Tillen. She ults, well, the entire fight, as we were about to see. It is a bit of a whaley team though. It is a bit of a whaley team. You need a relatively new hero. Mikola could replace that with Smokey, of course, but it's a little bit difficult with the positioning here. Fresto is in this team doing a ton of damage. Fresto in general is great in most teams. If you have him on your account, trying to plug him into a team is most of the time a great choice, because he provides buffs, he provides damage and all of that at the same time, so just a great hero. Tillen is a little bit of RNG. I mean, the boss could move out of the way of her ult, which would mean she would stop to ult. Didn't have that happen to me yet, but with the movement of the wolf boss, it should be possible that he does that, and that would reduce the damage, so maybe a little bit of RNG there as well. I guess a lot of people don't have Tillen though. So that might be the problem that most of you guys face, or well, at least some of you guys face. Tillen being one of the newer heroes, still rarer to see on most accounts. Then I made a little bit of a free-to-play team. Try to limit the amount of heroes that are used. from the Celestial and Hypogean faction, I just used Lenya because he's recommended as the first Celestial and Hypogean hero most of the time. We have Odie in here, we have Coco in here. I used Mikola, you can use Smokey. I used Thorin just to have a tank. Thorin is not optimal for this. The problem with Thorin is he doesn't provide us with any faction boost. He has this enhanced damage taken debuff that he can put on a boss, but Lenya's is stronger, so they don't actually stack, making him a lot less useful in this situation. If you have Freshstone and can put him into this team, will be a lot better. You can also try to survive without a tank, though I think that will be pretty difficult. You can enhance your damage if you place something like Cassidy next to Odie, for example. Formation looks like this, and damage numbers, we can watch the fight, should be quite alright. I mean, with Odie not really moving, you can just position your Smokey probably on the right here. It should be alright. There is pretty good range, and unless of course you have Mikola. But I think single copy Mikola might struggle a little bit with survival here. I was surprised, by the way, now that we talk about it, that the new charm wasn't in here and wasn't used commonly, and I tried using the new charm, and the thing is, your damage is a lot higher, but you just don't survive. The extra Fizz and Magic Death reduction, Magic Death from the other artifact, I think it's called Verdant Spell, is actually quite nice here. But I expect the resonating spell to be much more common towards the later end of the season, when we don't have the struggle to survive. You remember the teams from last season easily surviving there, often without a healer. We will get to the same position really, and at that point we will have no problem and just optimize for damage. So a pretty decent team still, doing pretty well with Smokey, with Odie. So maybe something that you can copy and that will help you. Keep in mind, depending on your damage dealer, we saw Tillen, we saw Odie, we saw Lenya. You might want to adjust the Dur Trials meshes a little bit, so you want to go for the Dur Trials mesh. That is best for you. And one more tip for that, we have Wraec in here, and I will just give you that example so you keep that in mind. Once you attempt this and you go in here, there is actually this blessing. They display it at the beginning, but it is like a faction talent buff tile will appear in Dur's tile, and placing hero on this tile grants a boost to their power, and I just interpreted that first as, okay, faction skills are active in here. That is not exactly the case. If we check out the first fight here, let's do that together. We have no heroes placed, but there is a faction tile there. If we now put in 3 Celestial and Hypogean heroes, this should usually activate the Celestial and Hypogean tree. It doesn't. It is actually fixed which faction boost is active, no matter the heroes you place. So you can place a mix of heroes in here, but it will still be the faction tile that is presented here. So in this situation, it is Mauler. Mauler is a very specific one. That actually teleports the prime carrier, the hero you place on a tile, right into the enemies. It is pretty nice to use this together with Brutus, but you want to keep in mind that you kind of need to know which tile you have on the board, because this will vary throughout the faction. So definitely read up on that, definitely make sure you have the right skill set there, and well, then probably, if you have the upgrades for the faction skill, it's probably a little bit random. Eventually you will have to upgrade them all. It's not like we thought it would be like, okay, you have to focus on like Mauler, you have to focus on like Wilder. Turns out it's not really the case with those limits here. You nearly have to upgrade all of these skills anyway before proceeding to the next stage, so probably you will have most of them anyway. Yeah, but that being said, make sure you do that, make sure you do your Dur's trial, and I hope you do some nice damage. Comment it down below if one of the teams helped you get a higher rank on your server. I was very happy to see yesterday that a lot of you guys got better scores because of the Ulcer bug or Ulcer trick, and was nice to see. So with that, I wish you a great day, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see us in the next one.